Hey guys, welcome to She Knows Arsenal. My name is Jessica. I'm your host. You can follow me on Twitter at Justino Tweets and at She Knows Arsenal. Welcome to another daily download today on this Sunday. Hope you guys are really enjoying your weekend. I know it's pretty much over, but I hope you enjoyed it slash are enjoying it. Did you watch F1 today? Did you get a chance to watch Wimbledon today? Let me know what you did. There's tons of things going on in terms of sports. The Women's Euros is on today, so you know a day full of sports, which is amazing. But you know, uh, nevertheless, there's always Arsenal news, which keeps this little channel going. So I'm gonna talk to you guys about all of the latest going on with Arsenal. So make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Tony Smith, welcome. Troy saying this is the first live show since I've been back. Well, welcome. Keenan says, yo, what's up, people? Hope everyone is having a nice, chill Sunday. William says, with this Grimaldo news, this probably means the Anna Martinez deal. We'll get into that. Matt G says, hello, Jess and Chad. Hello to you as well. William says, Jess, love the show, watching from Zambia. Keep it up. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Saida says the Wimbledon final was a good watch. Like, I'm not a big Oh, you guys, is my mic not working? You guys have to let me know if you guys can hear me or not. I know you guys can hear me now. You know why? Because I didn't have, I had it weirdly like hooked up to my headphones. So yeah. But yeah, you guys should be able to hear me now. But the Onyx Lens says, what's good, Jess? What's good with you as well? Yeah, like I don't watch tennis very often, but that was amazing. Like, that was so good. And I do think Kagaros is like just different than most tennis players that you see. He has a lot of personality and a lot of like character. So it's different than what we're used to. Could be quite serious and very like, these are the rules, that kind of stuff. So I do think that like having somebody that's different is always good for sports. And I think he did a really good job. Obviously, like Djokovic is like a legend of the game. He was so calm and cool and collected throughout the entire match. So even though Kagaros was really good, it just showed kind of like the levels. And so I really did enjoy that a lot. And I think I want to spend more time watching tennis because I haven't paid attention to it in a long time. Like, if it's on, it's on, but I want to pay more attention to it because that was just fire. Like, it was so entertaining. Other than that, I'll be watching the Women's Euros in a little bit after, we're done here. And then we move into the week. And during the week, it'll just be all transfers, hopefully. So let's go ahead and jump in. There's about 100 of you guys already watching, so like the video and subscribe to the channel. Let's talk about Grimaldo. So today, a couple of hours ago, there was a report that came out. Zach Lowy, who has been on the channel before, been on many Arsenal channels before, retweeted a report from Ebola, which is like a very popular Portuguese outlet. And excuse me if I could just find it really quick. I have everything else bookmarked but this, like, so annoying. And Zach posts so much, so I'm annoyed. It says Arsenal have submitted an offer of 7 million euros for Alex Grimaldo and are set to intensify negotiations over the upcoming weeks per Ebola. So with everything, you always have to take everything with a grain of salt, but this is a rumor that will not go away. And the last couple of reports were kind of like, they expect Arsenal to put in this bid. Arsenal are considering putting in this bid. And now the next report is it has arrived. And now Benfica and Arsenal will intensify negotiations over the next week or weeks. And so this particular report has kind of set Twitter alight, and I'm not really shocked. We were heavily linked to Lisandro Martinez, and that deal looks all but dead. I do think that ultimately, once Manchester United became more, um, their interest became more concrete and they put in bids as well. He quickly chose them. It always felt like it was leaning in their direction as soon as, Ten Hag was involved. And so I have slowly kind of untangled myself from that particular deal because, you know, it always felt like we're going to have to go in a different direction. It was just a matter of what direction we would go in. And so I do find it a little bit strange that Arsenal would go in this direction. And what I mean by that is a profile of player that is nowhere near the type of profile that Lisandro Martinez is. He can't really cover multiple positions. He's not necessarily a great passer. He's not even defensively sound. Like, well, I'll say he's not a great defender. He's more of a wing back. And so I do think it presents some of the same questions that we had around Nuno Tavares and Kieran Tierney. They're all kind of attack minded. Fullbacks slash wingbacks. And with Lisandro Martinez, it did feel as though we were going to be going in a different direction in terms of having more of an inverted option. And what I do want to say is that like the market does dictate what you can and cannot do. If there's not another Lisandro Martinez out there, you still have to address that hole in your squad. But I just wonder if there was any other option than this one. And just the difference in the price or the fees, Lisandro Martinez, his fee is going close to 60 euros now, with Ajax being very unwilling to sell him for anything cheap. Because they don't want to sell him. But when Arsenal were involved, it was somewhere around 45 million euros for Lisandro Martinez. So to go from that, which is quite expensive for somebody that a lot of fans didn't really see as didn't see as more than a quality rotational option, to 6 million euros, 7 million euros for a clear backup. I do find it a little bit strange, but again, the market will dictate what you can and cannot do. And I do think some Arsenal fans may put two and two together and figured we would go after Zinchenko. I actually don't think Zinchenko will leave Manchester City. I do think, Pep is always big on having really good quality options in every single position. And even if they do get Marco Correa, I do think it makes sense for them, especially with selling Nathan Ake to Chelsea, to keep Zinchenko. So I don't necessarily feel like that was the most likely option after Lisandro Martinez. That I think Grimaldo would be the next thing. No, but that looks like the direction that we could be going in. Again, you get to take all these reports with a grain of salt, but we've been linked with Grimaldo for a while, and I haven't seen anybody say that it's crap. So it could very well be true. So yeah, and the fan base, I don't think is necessarily even split on this. I think there's a lot of, what is this? Why would we go after this player? And I think your natural gut reaction does tell you something. That doesn't mean that that's going to be, the reality of the signing. But I think a gut feeling of what is this does make it a little bit questionable. Why would we be going after a player like this? He doesn't lift the levels, in my opinion. He doesn't really compete with Kieran Tierney. It is one of those clear backup options. He's 26 years old, which is not bad, but we know that there's a ceiling there. And when I watch him play, I just see somebody who is not really a great defender, is quite small and, lightweight, and is more of a wing back than anything else. So, those are kind of my thoughts on it. So a little bit concerned, but at the same time, if it's going to be not the profile that we're looking at, not somebody that's going to really be pushing Kieran Tierney, not somebody that plays inverted role, not somebody who's very good, I'd rather us pay very little for him than, spend a lot. See what you guys are saying? Keenan says, we desperately need left back cover for Kieran Tierney at €7 million. It is a good deal. Neil says, if we're seriously looking at a CB that's left footed, then Ndika would be a good option. Also can play left back if needed, just Tommy can do on the other side. Alistair Ben says Grimaldo is a very good player. William says, I am concerned about the DM position at Arsenal. Need Partey rotational option. EK says Rico Henry from Brentford wouldn't be a bad shout. Yeah, I mean, I think Rico Henry is a decent player. I'm not sure if Brentford would sell him for anything, cheap. And the idea of how I'm kind of reading this is the opportunity of Lisandro Martinez, because Arteta really highly rates him and his versatility is very attractive to Arteta, is that we were willing to spend more because he would cover more of the position, especially central midfield. He would be able to take, we wouldn't have to make maybe 2 center midfielder signings, maybe only 1. This is me just speculating here. But since we can't buy that, we'd rather spend very little on a left back cover because we are going to have to address the other positions with more funds. So, with Rico Henry, I do think that that's a decent shout. I do think now the idea is to spend as little as possible on a left back so that we could spend more in other positions. Saida says this Grimaldo link looks like such a lazy scout. Surely there are better left backs. I don't want to go into the season fearing Kieran Tierney injury because the signing isn't good enough. Alistair Ben said he may only be 5.9, but he is supposed to be brilliant. And just because you're small doesn't make you bad in the air. I'll address what I meant by the small, those comments in a second. Troy says, forget about Martinez. The market is big. We'll find somebody else. Matt says, I can only assume Zin has no interest in joining us. Otherwise, I don't get why we didn't go for him. It's not just about us going after him. He may not want to leave City because he just doesn't want to leave City. It may not have anything to do with not wanting to join us. And again, I don't see Pep really being interested in selling him because they just sold Ake. So they need 2 left backs. Cancelo can play left back, but with Kyle Walker being, a little bit on the older side and catching some more injuries, I would imagine Cancelo, Kyle Walker, Zinchenko, Cucurella really solves a lot of their issues. Where if you get rid of Zinchenko and you sell Ake, then you need to buy another left back. And why would you do that? So I'm not sure if it's so much we didn't go after, or he doesn't want to come to us and we went after him. I don't even think we really went after him, to be honest. So yeah. Sacco says Grimaldo has every Benfica fan scared every time a winger ran at him. Sigh. Hightower says it's another risk from the club. Let's see. William says, so what happens to Tavares now? Because we have 3 left backs. So does that mean Arteta's plans to play 3 at the backs next season? So basically with Nuno Tavares, that was another thing that I wanted to touch on, because the whole reason why we're in for a left back is because he hasn't worked out. He hasn't really done what I think we needed in that position. Arteta doesn't trust him. And so Marseille are continuing to work to sign Nuno Tavares, and it's likely that the deal will be a loan with an option to buy. That's from L'Equipe. So we kind of already knew Marseille was interested in him. Atalanta were also interested in him, but Marseille might be a better option because we kind of know them, and they've had 2 of our players so far, and Guendouzi and Saliba developed very well at Marseille. So I would imagine letting him go there would feel comfortable to Arsenal, and so a loan with an option to buy seems the most reasonable thing to do, and so that's what would happen with Nuno. I don't particularly see us playing a 3-back next season.
I do think we'll play the way that we always have, which is Tomiyasu playing more like a center back. And then so you have a natural almost three back system anyway. And then the left back bombs on. Because when you have two left backs that are more attacking, you don't really have the option to play inverted on the left hand side. Kieran Tierney tried and did an okay job at it, but he's not the type that can play like that. So I would imagine that we play that lopsided system that we've been playing. Blaze says we don't need a backup Tierney. We need a backup who is better than Tierney and can fit perfectly into Arteta's system. Well, yeah, of course we do. Like, I think most Arsenal fans agree with that. We need more than just a backup for Kieran Tierney. Having backup hasn't worked out. Cedric was really the backup for Kieran Tierney the season prior. Nuno was the backup last season. It hasn't worked out. But equally, like, if I would imagine that Arsenal looked at other options and thought this was the best one for them. And, we'll just have to see how it works out. For me, it's always about being open to being wrong about something. My initial gut reaction to this is that it's the same old Arsenal going after an easy option, a connection with Arteta's agents. They're represented by the same agency. It's just easy to do, and we'll end up regretting it, and praying over Tierney's knee because we won't want him to play. But I'm open to being wrong about him. My initial reaction to him is based on what I've seen from him, which is very little and based on comps online. But your comps are your best actions. Your comps are, if you don't look great in comps, you're probably not good at all. And that's how I kind of view things. So it's mixed. I see some people say he's good, and I see a lot of people say he's crap. So it's hard. It's hard for me. But if he were to sign, and this is the thing, if he were to sign for Arsenal, of course I would back him. I wouldn't abuse him or hold on to any sort of preconceived notions so that I could feel like I'm right. I would prefer to be wrong about him. Does that make sense? I think people think that, oh, you just want to have some outlandish opinion and you're going to hold on to it so you can feel like you're right. Absolutely not. If Grimaldo ends up being good, signing for Arsenal and being good, I will say I was wrong on that. I would prefer that. I would prefer him to be good. But when I look at him, I just think he's another Cedric. And you guys know how I feel about Cedric. Troy says, Keenan, I'm still good at how Arsenal didn't go for Hickey. You guys are talking about Aaron Hickey. What I will say about Aaron Hickey is that I think Brentford is his level. I don't think he at 19 is ready to just step in. Kieran Tierney, the likelihood of him getting injured is high. That's the reality. This is somebody we're going to see quite a bit. And Arsenal is a big club with a lot of pressure on it. And we saw that pressure really got to Nuno. And I get that Nuno didn't play a lot of first team minutes and Aaron Hickey has played more. But I just don't see somebody who's ready to step in for Kieran Tierney at all. I see somebody who's more of a project. And, for Scotland, I seen somebody jump straight over his head and knock him over and head the ball into the back of the net. And we have enough of that. We have enough of those types of players that are kind of weak, and so that's not necessarily what I'd want to spend 20 million on. Is somebody like Aaron Hickey, who's another project. So at least Grimaldo has some experience, at the top level, even though I do find him to be a little bit lightweight as well. Troy says Grimaldo might surprise us. Monty97 said, I've seen Grimaldo play and I would still rather keep Ainsley as a backup and maybe do a better scout for left back and sign one in January. Dab says, makes a lot of sense. That is how normal fans think, Jess. I mean, that's the thing, though. It's like you have your initial reaction and people say you're being hysterical and all this kind of stuff as if you're going to hate the player or something like that. We're allowed to have opinions like about players. And I understand that like we're not all going to agree. Like when people were saying that they didn't think Gabriel Jesus would be a good signing, of course I wanted to fight with everybody who was saying it. But equally, they're allowed to have their opinion. If they just don't like him, they just don't like him. But I would hope that they're open to being wrong if he was good. But they don't have to be like on the same train as everybody else. And I do feel like sometimes, especially on socials, we have to all kind of be on the same train. Every player that we're linked with is going to be great. There's not going to be any issues with them. They don't have any cons to them. It's all pros. The club knows exactly what they're doing, and we shouldn't be worried. And we not only should we not be worried, but we shouldn't speak negatively about signings. That's not how the world works. People have their gut reactions to things. And my gut reaction to Grimaldo is he's giving Cedric, and that's not my thing. And in terms of, what I said about on Twitter about having, these fullbacks that are like 5'5", 5'6", very short. And people were coming back at me saying fullbacks don't have to be tall. My take on this is that you don't have to be tall. But when you're sending me like Roberto Carlos and you're telling me Philip Lahm and you're telling me Ashley Cole, what do all those defenders have in common? They're all world class and they all could defend. When you're not a great defender, which Grimaldo is not, and neither is Cedric, what you would hope is that you would have the physical attributes to make up for not being a great defender. That's at least something that I could give to Nuno, is that he was over 6 foot, very tall and athletic. So what he didn't have in defensive nous, he could make up for in athleticism, and they don't have that either. And then what they also aren't is they're not prolific going forward. The trade-off of having a attacking fullback is that they are excellent going forward. So Cedric and Grimaldo are not athletic enough to make up for their lack of defensive skills or whatever. They don't have any athleticism. And then they also are not prolific going forward either. So what you have is just very average fullbacks that are going to get bullied. In the Premier League, there are some big, fast, strong forwards. And we saw with Cedric, there were times where players just kind of shoved him to the side. Remember how Zaha did him. So, I don't look forward to a day where Cedric and Grimaldo are starting on either side of Gabriel and Ben White. I don't look forward to that. So I accept that you don't have to be tall, but those defenders that they're sending me are freaking world class and they could defend. So that's my point on that, is that like lightweight, undersized defenders that don't have any defensive skills and aren't necessarily prolific going forward either are just not really my thing, so that's kind of my point on that. But yeah, that's kind of like where I kind of sit with that. In terms of the positives on him, some people say that he's pretty good going forward and he's a good crosser of the ball. What I'll say is that, like, from what I saw, like, he's kind of fast and he has technical skill. Like, he's somebody that I do think came through La Masia, or, he was supposed to be one of those Barcelona wonder kids or whatever. So he can play, like, you know what I mean? He can play, but, I want more than that. I was hoping for more than just a nice player on the ball. But it is what it is. We only want to spend a little bit. Let's see. High Tech J says they're all about 5'8" to 5'10". AG says that's true because TA is basically just a winger. Tony says, I can't wait for next season to start. William says, no, bro, Ajax wasn't letting the two. Okay, so you guys are talking to each other. Saksham is saying, just he's a good player and would maybe replace Tierney. Fair. Fair. I want him to be good if he signs for Arsenal. Like, I don't want him to be crap. Do you know what I'm saying? Yes, he is Spanish, not Portuguese. So, yeah. I know that was kind of like the thing with with it's he is Spanish, but I think a lot of people are thinking that he's Portuguese because he plays in that league. But yeah, so there's that. In short, Jess is saying that size does matter, or size matters. No problem with that. AG says for 5 million, it's not really a big risk. So what I'll say on the risk factor in terms of will it cripple the club financially? Absolutely not. Hold on, you guys. I'm not like in focus. I'll focus back up, I think. But will it cripple the club financially? No, it won't. But the idea that this is not an important signing and we just need to grab any old guy, I do think is kind of like acting like the last 2 seasons haven't happened, and that the likelihood of Tierney getting injured is great. And in order to keep him from getting injured, we might need to rest him more. So we're going to see this player quite a bit. This player is not going to be somebody that we only see once. We're going to see this player. So I want him to be all right. Like, I want him to be good. That would be my preference, on that. And the thing about, people will ask, like, is this reliable information? Again, you have to take it with a pinch of salt. But, Ben Jacobs and Fabrizio Romano have both come out and rubbished a couple of rumors today. I think Ben Jacobs said that Conte is not an actual rumor. And Fabrizio Romano has also doubled down on that Conte to Arsenal is not real. And we have not put in a bid for Eden Zergova or whatever his name is. Neither of them said that this rumor about Grimaldo was not real. So the fact that they didn't confirm nor deny it, I would say maybe means that there is something to it. But that's kind of where I'm at. Sol says fullbacks are so important in the modern game that Pep spent £50 million on each, on at least 3 of them. Fullbacks are really important. I do think I would have preferred us to really invest. I would prefer us to really invest in it, but there you go. We tried to, but it didn't work. Keenan says Grimaldo is good going forward with our system designed to have Tommy tuck in. The left back progress, I think, is a good signing. Lucas AFC says, I'm not going to act like an expert. Know nothing about him. If we sign him, hope he's good. Just sound familiar to last year with Nuno. Was a cheap option because we needed to spend elsewhere. Yeah, Matt G says it's a risk depending on KT's injury record throughout the season. Exactly. Joshua says, I'll find the quote for you and show it on the screen. Yeah, send it to me because I have not seen Fabrizio Romano say that the Grimaldo thing was not happening. So yeah, typically Arsenal fans says, why are we going for someone who is 7 million, another Tavares? Zach Lowy said that he's better than Tavares, but that doesn't say much, does it? Atagwagwa says Grimaldo is not good enough. He's just like Cedric. I mean, I think maybe that's a lot of it as well, is that like when I look at him, I see Cedric so much that maybe I have like a preconceived notion about him kind of thing. But, I only see what I see. I only see what I see. I want to see something else, but I saw Cedric and I didn't like it. I didn't like it. Make sure you guys like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm waiting on Joshua to pull up that quote from Fabrizio Romano, where he said that Grimaldo is not a real option or something like that. I have not seen anything like that. So yeah. I think there's about 230 of you guys in here, so like the video and subscribe to the channel. Saksham says Grimaldo is comfortable on the ball. That's why Arteta wants him. IG Barca were after him 2 years ago, but they were demanding crazy money. Keenan says, with 100 million left to spend, we need a wide forward, CM, DM, and left back. We don't have the budget to pay 3 million. Okay, so here's the thing. And I think that's the thing about like Lisandro, is that he would have been able to cover the DM position, so that's why we were willing to spend a little bit more, or quite a bit more. But if we go out and do everything else that we're supposed to do, which is bring in at least one midfielder and another attacker, then it would probably be all right if we brought in Grimaldo. He maybe he's not a world beater, but everything else has to be perfect then. Does that make sense? Because we will have, not brought in a really amazing left back, so there you go. But yeah, that's enough on that. Joshua, you can't find it. That means it didn't happen. No joking. But I'll look for it later as well, to see if it happened or not. And like I said about Nuno, you guys, Marseille is trying to sign him on a loan with an option to buy, which I'm sure all of that stuff will come together. The fact that we are like Marseille, Nuno to Marseille rumors are kind of getting more and more substantial would probably indicate that we're getting closer to getting a left back, whether that's Grimaldo or not. So there you go. So let's hop into the Paqueta stuff. I'm going to tell you guys right now that, you guys know I like this player. There's no going around it or whatever. This is, if you guys thought I liked Bruno Guimaraes, you got another thing coming. I love Paqueta. I back him. I think he is a slick player. So let's just talk about who he is really quick. 24 years old. He was at AC Milan first before he went to Lyon. He was actually bought, if you guys remember, as the supposed replacement for Aouar when he was supposed to come to us. And he looks like he might be exiting quicker than Aouar, which is really interesting. But 24 years old, was at AC Milan, didn't do great, but has been really, really good for Lyon. And him and Bruno Guimaraes just seem to really take over that team over the last 2 seasons or so. Paqueta is the type of player that can play every position really well. Besides central defensive midfielder and the defensive positions, he can play left 8, right 8, 9, left wing, and right wing. Well, so it's not he can play there. No, he can play there. He's a very interesting, unique midfield profile. Is he a standout passer? If you were to compare him to Vieira, I think Vieira is a better passer, but I think Paqueta is more box-to-box type, a dribbler. He can progress the ball. He can beat a man. He's more dynamic in that way, where Vieira is more of a nice passer type player. But they kind of do similar things. He scores goals. He's just the type of midfielder that we haven't had. He's pretty well-rounded, and he sees himself as a left 8. The position that he plays for Brazil is the position that he really likes to play, which is left 8, which is a position that we need filled. So this link is great, but I feel like it has the makings of another Aouar saga. So take from that what you will. Now, the information that's kind of out there today, a lot of this came from MediaFoot.com, which is a French publication that said that Arsenal are pushing very hard to sign Paqueta, and that Lyon would take somewhere around 50 million euros to sign him, and then Get French Football put out last night that on the L'Équipe that came out today, that Paqueta wants to leave and would like Lyon to pretty much to take any offer that was suitable for him. So then here comes a loss, right? And, a loss doing a loss things. And this is where I just kind of get really annoyed by him because, now he's talking about wanting 65 million euros with add-ons, for Paqueta, which is very, very expensive. It comes out to being about 55 million pounds. And that's not including any add-ons. So Ben Jacobs came out with a report and said that there is interest from Arsenal for Paqueta, and there hasn't been a formal offer. Both Newcastle, who's also interested in him, find that price to be over the top, and so neither team has really firmed up their interest as of yet. But Arsenal also want some clarity on where he stands with everything before they put in an official bid. He also said that Tielemans is still possible and Conte is not a thing. So that was like his full thing on that. So we know that there's some interest there. Whether or not we put in an official bid, we'll have to wait and see. But I would like to see us push for a player like this. If, Lisandro Martinez was going to be 40 million euros or something like that, 45 million euros, then why not take that money and put it towards a midfielder that can play all across your front three and on both sides of your number 6? That's, I think, would be worth it. I don't know what it would take to get the deal done, but I would hope that they would take something around 45, like 65 million euros or 55 million pounds is a lot. It's about 10 million more than I think the top of what Paqueta is worth. And it's just strange to me how they were so willing to do a very easy deal with Newcastle for Bruno Guimaraes, but we're interested in Paqueta, and now all of a sudden they want stupidity again. So both teams obviously have money, so I'm sure that Alas is going to hold out on this. I don't think he's particularly pleased that Paqueta wants to go, but they didn't qualify for any European competition, and that was always going to see some of their players wanting to go. Paqueta is too good to be not playing in Europe, so he's going to want to leave. So I don't know how this one is going to end. Obviously, I have no interest in another us and somebody else saga. Like, if Arsenal really want him, make him commit to us and then put in an official bid. And I do like the part that's been reiterated by multiple reports, Ben Jacobs and Mediafoot, that, they want him to commit first before they do anything. And I like that because hopefully we've learned our lesson that in 2 separate instances, we had players that we were really interested in that were interested in going other places. And we wasted time, dealing with them because I don't really think the Lisandro Martinez thing was as 50-50 as some reports were out there saying it was. I think ultimately, like, Ajax and Lisandro Martinez were liking having multiple teams being interested in the player. But they, he was always going to Manchester United, and Rafinha always wanted Barcelona. So we need some sort of okay, I only want to come to Arsenal. I'm convinced by the project. And then we put in an official bid because that would mean Newcastle would have to go away. So yeah, my initial thoughts on this are we just have to wait and see. But I like the player. If we're not going to get Lisandro Martinez, I'd like to see us push a little bit harder for somebody a little bit better than what we've been looking at before. And so, yeah, this would be a great signing. But I do see there's a lot of apprehension around him because people don't know where he would play. Newsflash, he would play freaking everywhere. You know, he would play everywhere. So that's great. So I like that about him, and he can do well. Mackie says SMS is just agent talk, rumors linking him away every summer for the past 3 years. Man United first, then Chelsea. Now it's Arsenal's turn to get linked to him. Neil says he rejected a move to Newcastle, but Lyon did entertain the bid, which was 35 to 40 million. So we might have a chance. We're a bigger club and have Europa League football. I think that there's a feeling, especially in the Newcastle kind of world, that he would automatically choose them because of Bruno Guimaraes. But I think they have kind of a misconception around what actually happened with Bruno Guimaraes. They did not beat us out for Bruno Guimaraes. We never went after him. That was my biggest bugbear in January, is I felt like had we had went for him, he would have come to us. And that's why his entire announcement video was about us, is because we never firmed up our interest in him the way that I feel like we should. But, it's over now. If we go in for Lucas Paqueta, I don't think he will choose his club only based on his best friend being at that club. I don't think that's how professionals do things. And where Newcastle are, which, don't get it twisted, in the next couple of years, maybe even this next season, they will be they will qualify for Europe and they will become big, But in the meantime, in the next 2 to 3 seasons, they're going to be players that are really good that'll make a decision to stick with the traditional big clubs because they want that instant boost, kind of thing. And they want something that they can look at and they know is good right now, because Newcastle are still a little bit of not a question mark. We know they'll be good, but we don't know how long it will take. So I don't think Lucas Paqueta will just say, you know what, that's the project for me because my best friend went there. Because I think Bruno would have come to us had we had just put in a bid. And I feel like the same thing about Paqueta. I think he would choose us. We have Europe. We're bigger right now than Newcastle. And I would be very shocked if he chose them over us. Like when it comes to, Chelsea and that type of thing. Yeah, like they could get him over us, but not Newcastle, not right now. That's kind of my feeling on it. But he's making noises of wanting to leave. Our interest has kind of come at the same time. So I'm hoping that this is what Edu has been working on and everything kind of works together and we can get a solid, I want to come to Arsenal, Newcastle can go away and we can move on. I also think if Newcastle were really super confident in getting him, they would have gotten him already because they've been linked to him since January as well. So the fact that nothing has really happened now and all the information that's coming out about him is when we put our interest in, I do think there is something to that. Monty says, exactly, Jess, that's what I'm saying. If we're spending over 50 million on a midfielder, he needs to be box to box. William says that makes sense. Jess, contact a player to see if they're interested before wasting any time on making a bid. That's smart business. I think we're learning on the job, which is the reality. Learning on the job is what it is. But I want to see us be smarter. Don't get used. Make sure the player only wants to come to us. Say, okay, well, then you're done with Newcastle. Don't even talk to them anymore. We're going to put in a bid. We don't want any bidding wars. We don't want anything like that. Make it clear that you don't want to go anywhere else, that you're only into us, like that. Sometimes you got to be like that. And I think Arsenal could do that with Paqueta, but we'll have to see. I know Eddie Paxton, or Freddie Paxton. I don't know if he's necessarily super reliable or not. I'm not going to vouch for him or anything like that. But, he put out something saying that he spoke directly to Paqueta's agent. And they said that there was no formal or official offer for Paqueta, but the door is open for him to leave, which is basically not much more than what anybody else said. But I just wanted to put that out there. just, in case you guys saw that. Actually, I think that's a fun poll to do. There's 276 of you guys in here. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I actually think it would be fun to do a little poll to see what you guys think. Let me just set it up here. I want to know who you guys think is better, Paqueta or Rafinha. What do you guys think? Who is better? Yeah. So go ahead and vote, you guys. I really want to know because, and then I'll tell you guys, after a couple of you guys vote, I'll tell you guys what I think on it. But yeah, in terms of the positions that he plays, like all that kind of stuff, it does make sense. I know, people are like, well, how many creative midfielders do we need? As many as you can fit in your team. Like, we don't have any creative players in our team. Well, we have some, but it's not enough. Like, I don't consider Emile Smith-Rowe or Martinelli particularly creative. Like the most creative player that we have in our team is Odegaard. So you add Vieira to that, you could add Paqueta to that, and all of a sudden, you have players that can think on their feet. They can think beyond the patterns. They can make something happen in the second phase. They can, manipulate the ball and do things, and I just think that's what Arsenal are really missing. Paqueta, he's not particularly like really big. He's not like a physical specimen like SMS is, but he's not like a waif either, if that makes sense. And I'll also pull up his FB ref so we can look at that while we're here. Let's see. Lucas. Yeah, I don't want to get too excited because I do like him a lot. Let's see what you guys are saying on the poll so far. 68 votes, 50-50. It's 50-50. I love that. And let me go ahead and share this with y'all. Okay, so this is his FB ref overview. What I will say is that oh my gosh, they're showing me like stuff that like I've been shopping for, which is kind of annoying. All right, so when you look at it, like you can always flick between the different kind of positions that they play. Like he has versus attacking mid and wingers versus forwards versus midfielders. Again, this speaks to all the positions that he can play, but against attacking mids and wingers, that's pretty good, I would say his main position, though, like let's put him as a midfielder because that's kind of what we want to see. But, progressive passes are good. Progressive carries are good. Dribbles completed are good. Progressive passes received is in the 99th percentile. So I think that speaks to the type of midfielder that he is. He's probably not going to be your dictator in midfield. And this is kind of where I think you still are going to need a Tielemans type player because Tielemans is going to get the ball and he might be the one to be passing to Paqueta. Paqueta is not going to be sitting there passing the ball to Odegaard in between the lines. That's not really the type of player that he is. He's box to box. He's kind of free. He kind of does his thing. He does do some playmaking, but ultimately what you want him is isolated against defenders one-on-one. You want him on the edge of the box. You want him making runs into the box. He is going to be a goal-scoring midfielder for people that are like, what is his main thing? It's goal scoring. It's 1v1. It's, it's beating the man. It's doing all that good stuff that we like to see. Pressures, we like pressing. 22 or about 23 presses per 90. That's really, really good. Again, that goes back to why we kind of like Rafinha, hardworking. A lot of tackles. He likes to get stuck in. Like he's not somebody that's just going to be, he's not a luxury kind of 10. Like, he's going to work hard. And so, like, if I had to say, like, what is the dynamic, like, Bruno Guimaraes is the type that would be passing to Paqueta. So you still kind of need that player. I guess you could have Xhaka do it, but yeah, like, he's definitely like a mover, a runner, a kind of, do my thing out there. I'm creative. I'm going to get in there. I like that about him. I mean, the assists and the goals are there, so the end product is there. Last season, he had 9 goals and 6 assists, which is, I mean, we could have used 9 goals and 6 assists, couldn't we have? He's kind of slightly underperforming his expected goals. His expected goals is 10.9, but he's slightly overperforming his assists. So, yeah, I really like the player. I do think he would add quality, and I don't think it's because we were going after Rafinha and we're also going after Tielemans. I think it's kind of like, well, where does he fit in all of that? Like, how is he going to, how is he a replacement for either one of those players? I think this is another one of those situations where the market dictates what you can and cannot do. And beyond Rafinha, I don't see a lot of 1v1 dual monster, traditional wingers like that. I think Rafinha was kind of like one of the best on the market. And now he's gone. So when you look at the market now, of course, Paqueta is not a clean fit for that. He's also not a clean fit for the Tielemans role. But what he can do is he can play all of those positions that we still need some quality in. So he can play off of the left, he can play off of the right. And also for people that are kind of worried about the center forward position, he can also play down the middle. Is he like a traditional striker? No. But if Gabriel Jesus were to get injured, I wouldn't be that afraid if we had Paqueta because I know he can play that position. So yeah, I like the player. I would like him. I still think like I want to see like an official bid go in or something soon. Like, I don't want a saga. I don't want it to be us and Newcastle going head to head. Get him to commit, put in the bid. If he doesn't want to commit and he wants to look at all of his options, F him. Keenan says, Jess, if you think we need both Paqueta and Tielemans, then we shouldn't be buying him. We need a solid left 8 that can start week in and week out. I mean, I still think Paqueta would start all the time. I'm just saying you still would need somebody else to get him the ball. Like, I do think that, like, from what I saw from Vieira, I feel like he's going to play on the right-hand side. That's my gut feeling, is he would play on the right. Paqueta plays more off of the left. So we still need some more creativity on the left-hand side. How that comes, I don't really care. And I don't think I was really convinced that Tielemans played on the left. He feels more like he plays on the right. So you still need to bring somebody creative onto that left-hand side. I do think what hurt the left-hand side versus the right is all the creative players were on the right-hand side. Thomas kind of liked to go to the right-hand side. Lacazette kind of went off to the right. Saka was on the right. Odegaard was on the right. Everything was on the right. So when you look at the left, you don't really have that. I think Martinelli's kind of on an island by himself. So for me, like, I get what you're trying to say, but I still think you need somebody to get Paqueta the ball. Now, that could be Xhaka, that could be Thomas Partey, that could be somebody else. But for comparison, he's not going to be the one giving the ball to Odegaard. He's going to be receiving it, turning, taking the man on, getting into the box, making third man runs, taking the shots, taking men on in wide areas in the half spaces. That's more what he's about. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. But I get what you're trying to say as well. Joshua said he's probably a mixture of what Rafinha's position and Tielemans' position. I mean, kind of like, I think he's just more of like, he's just a player. It's hard to, because we always want to put people in a box and say like, well, what is he? Similar to Vieira, I just think he's a good technical player that gives you goals and assists and can be in those really tight spaces in the final third and can make things happen. That's pretty much what I think he is. Whether that's right wing, left 8, he can do it. He's just a player. He doesn't have very many like weaknesses, which I think we need more players like that. But again, we have to see kind of how things shake out. If the interest is more firmed up, I would not want us to really wait on this. But we're kind of like a slowish moving type of team, or type of club. So we'll see what happens. Let me check the poll. Right now, it's 53% Paqueta, 47% Rafinha. So I think right now, like, if I had to choose which one to play on my right wing, which one would I like more? I think I would still like Rafinha a little bit more. And my reason for that is because I just think he has that 1v1 devastation about him that we really lack. But do I think Paqueta can do a nice little rendition of that? Yeah, I do. And I think he can do it on the left and through the center. So I think overall I like having a player that can play multiple positions more than somebody that's very, how do I explain this? Rafinha is a better winger, but Paqueta is a better, more all-around footballer. Does that kind of fix it? Like, I think that's the best way to put it for me. So, but yeah. Tony Tynebridge says Paqueta is coming to Newcastle. Don't get your hopes up. I mean, why do you guys think that so much? Like, do you guys actually think if we put in a bid and you guys put in a bid, we wouldn't have a chance? Because him and Bruno are friends, like, but yeah. AG says Paqueta is more of the Bernardo type. Ivy says Paqueta offers presence in midfield, although I would prefer Savage to him. No, you guys, I don't think the Savage stuff was – I think there was something to it. Like, there was some interest there, but I also don't think that it's ever going to materialize. So let's see. Les Sego says smash the button if you hate Spurs. Let's see. Monty97 says Paqueta must be the type of player to be passing it to Odegaard because he's only got 6 assists. Ozil would laugh at that. Paqueta must be the type of player to be passing it to Odegaard because he's only got 6 assists. Ozil would laugh at that. I don't really care about Ozil, to be honest, and what his life is about. It just is what it is. Saksham says, but Jess, Paqueta is under 6 foot. Why would you take him? I mean, Tielemans is under 6 foot. Of course I'd want some, physical presence in midfield. But equally, like, if you're technically gifted and you make it work. My issue with players that don't have physicality and don't have any athleticism is they have to be if you don't have any athleticism and you don't have any physicality, then you need to be technically brilliant. Because in the Premier League, it's such a physical league that, you'll get hammered, if you can't play. So with Paqueta, I would trust him to be technically good enough to withstand some of the physicality in the league. I think Vieira, if he can bulk up a little bit, can be somewhat like that as well. But yeah, if you're not as technical, then you need to be a physical kind of presence. You can't be like neither. So yeah, that's kind of my point on that. Let's see. Al Hood says, wait, are people actually saying Paqueta is better than Rafinha? I can't be asked. I mean, it's all opinion, I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer right now to that. Is there a definitive answer to that? I know that, Rafinha has played in the Premier League, so we can vouch for him in the Premier League. But maybe we'll see him in a better team. If Paqueta came to the Premier League, then you can see, which one is better. But yeah, I think they're two different players. So yeah. Blaze says Arteta wants to bring more creative players, so I'm not surprised about the rumors about Paqueta. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Lucas says Paqueta is 180. That's 6 foot. That's like I'm not even gonna read that. It's 6 foot. So I see like there's people in the chat. It looks like you guys are all like Newcastle fans, weirdos, saying like, say it this way, say it this way. I'm going to say it kind of like how I want to. I'm not saying Paquetar, so I don't know where you guys are getting that from. I'm saying Paqueta, like I don't get it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys aren't like the, authorities on how to say it. But yeah, all the Newcastle fans, they're in here trying to banter people. Oh, fair enough. Napoleon complex, exactly. So yeah, you kind of already said that a million times, you can get a life, but I appreciate, the view and all that kind of stuff. That's going to really help the channel. So bring more of your Newcastle friends over here. Make sure you guys smash the likes as well. Romy 134 says, wait, you're telling me Paqueta is taller than Martinez? Yeah, he is. He looks taller. Sometimes people look taller though. It says he's 5'10" and a half. So he's not quite 6 foot, but that's definitely taller than Martinez. So there you go. Yeah, exactly. So yeah. I don't think people realize like coming into people's chat and then also like that's just helping the channel grow, and that's helping more people come. So like I welcome all you guys, all you Newcastle fans, actually share this and make sure that they see it so you guys can come here as well. I really would enjoy that. So Owlhood says, just if you have a choice for the same price, who are you taking? I still feel like I'm taking Rafinha, just based on the position of the right wing position. And I think, Paqueta would play in a different position. So he could also play off the right wing. I think I'm still kind of like would take Rafinha, but just marginally. Keenan says, I do appreciate people pronouncing foreign names properly, but English love to butcher names. I mean, it's weird because you're just in here and it's like really weird because it's like, okay. Like you're not doing anything special. Okay, She Knows Football says, thank you so much for your super chat. Says Newcastle getting cocky after all these years. I mean, I feel like they're just in here because they've seen the Arsenal links and they're worried. I know I did see it on the timeline. Like they're not 100% confident that they're going to get him now because we're interested in him. And so, yeah, like we'll see who gets him in the end. But keep coming into, the chat box. Keep commenting because it just makes everybody, like it just makes the algorithm say this is a really good channel to watch. So more people will come. All right. So let's see. They are weirdos. Monty97 says Paqueta is pronounced Paquetar. I've heard Paqueta. I've heard a couple of different ways of saying it, and I'll wait for somebody that actually speaks Portuguese to, let me know. And when I know I'm saying something wrong or whatever, I'm always willing to like follow my sword and say it the way that they say I should, but I'm not going to listen to somebody that's a Newcastle fan. I'm pretty sure you have no idea how to say it. Tony says Rafinha getting low marks on the poll because he rejected Arsenal and fans are mad about it still. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Let's see. Sean says, don't care if you call him Luke Skywalker as long as he puts Shaka out of the team. I'll be happy. She Knows Football, thank you so much for your super chat. Says, just getting heat for calling guys small, which they actually are. You can't talk about a guy's size at all or else their egos will explode. I don't know. It's like, I feel like people are taking the whole like height thing like really serious, but like if you're not elite, like elite technically, I'd prefer you to be like physically imposing and athletic. You know, you can't be technically average and small. Like there's just no point of having you there. So that's my point with the Grimaldo thing, was that he's, for me, an average player that is also lightweight, you know, so he can't make up for anything else. With Lisandro, at least he's an elite passer. Technically, he's better than a lot of other midfielders, so he can make up for that. You know, but that's my only point though. With that, everybody doesn't have to be tall. You know what I mean? Let's see. Mark says it actually does not matter either, as long as everybody knows who you're talking about. Big up, Jess. I mean, people act like they can't understand, but they're like, I know how you say it. Well, I'm pretty sure you don't know how to say it either. Ayathuka says, imagine we pull out another surprise and we bag Felix. Stop. Stop. We're not. Like, we're not getting him. I mean, it would be great, but we're not getting him. The last thing I want to... Xavi, that's funny. Xavi says, are these the same people who insist it's pronounced Cartola? I fucking did. Okay, so the last thing I want to touch on is the Torreira situation. Like, you guys, I don't know, Torreira really annoys me, and he's starting to like really wear on me. And I want him to go, you know, but basically like Torreira was on some sort of media platform, and this is coming from Martin Chaquero, and he's saying that Lucas confirms the negotiations with Roma. He said, Roma, yes, there is a possibility. I spoke to Mourinho a while ago. I admire him as a coach. It's an opportunity that tempts me a lot, but it's not easy. The biggest eye roll in the world, you guys. And then Juventus are seriously considering Torreira as well. Ain't nobody buying you. Like, you know, he acts like, okay, I just have to get this off my chest, but like, he acts as though we've been keeping him from going places. Like, we still need to recoup something from you. Like, you're not old enough or crappy enough for us to just cancel your contract and let you go wherever. I remember he was going through a really difficult time when his mother passed away, and you know, obviously like that's a terrible situation to go through. And you know, I do think I did feel bad that, you know, it kind of happened and he was kind of like in a weird situation with his career and all that kind of stuff, and like it was just felt like it was a lot for him, and I did feel for him at that point. But he also expected us to let him go to Boca Juniors, you know, because he was going through a difficult time and wanted to be back with his family. Boca Juniors have no way of paying for him. And he went to Fiorentina. We had a deal in place that the option would be 15 million euros for Fiorentina to buy him. And they effed it, you know, in the end of the day, and decided that they did not want you enough to pay the option. They wanted to force us to take something less, and that's not how things work. You know, he said something about how the evils, you know, came together to, you know, so that he couldn't go to Fiorentina, and I'm pretty sure he was talking about Arsenal when he said that. And like Arsenal should have accepted whatever Fiorentina wanted to offer so that he can go to Fiorentina. Then he came out and said, well, Arsenal from minute one acted like they didn't want me or said that I was no longer, you know, needed. But at the same time, you cried so many times about not wanting to be in London and not liking it at Arsenal before Arteta even came. So, like, it just irritates me, like, that Torreira, you know, he's so, like, whiny and wants so badly not to be at Arsenal that it makes it difficult for people to, like, because there's no leverage on any side in that way. Like, you're basically in a position where people know that Arsenal don't want you. You don't want to be there. So people just offer nothing, you know, because they don't feel like they have to fight to bring you. So they don't, they offer nothing. And so you've been on a couple loans. Nobody is really taking you on. And it's just kind of like, what the hell? So Torreira, like his agent was told that like he would go on the U.S. tour, which I do feel like putting that out there and all that kind of stuff was a little bit of like a hurry up and come get me. I don't want to go to the United States with Arsenal. Like I actually don't think he'll go. I think something will be solved before then. I hope so. But in terms of him coming out and saying like Roma, yes, da 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 da, I expect nothing less from him. I think he's trying to make it abundantly clear that he doesn't want to be at Arsenal. Fair enough. But I highly doubt Roma's going to come in here with some actual coins to buy you. Like they'll probably offer a dry loan. Juventus, they're not going to offer any cash for you. So it's just kind of like Torreira is the strangest thing because nobody wants to commit actual money to bring him in. Even like Villarreal is willing to buy Bellerin. For nobody to want to buy Torreira is freaking crazy, but he's getting on my nerve and I want him gone. Sorry. Mr. Smith says players have to get fit preseason, so they have to go if they're under contract. I'm not saying that he can refuse or anything like that. What I am saying is that I think something will be solved before then. I think there's enough noise out there that maybe somebody really wants him. And so I have a hard time believing he'll be on the U.S. tour. Saksham says Italian clubs don't have a lot of cash. That's why they have cash for what they want. That's what I've learned over the last couple of seasons is they have some money, but they spend money on what they want. Fiorentina just bought Dodo for about the same amount that they were supposed to buy Torreira for. So they have money. They just spend it on what they want. And that's it. Harry says, get him out. He's crap. I don't think he's crap, but I mean, he's just annoying at this point. AG says maybe it's his attitude. Maybe, let's see. Ify says Juve and free transfer. Don't even get me started with them. Mr. Smith said, oh, yeah, you said that. Let's see. Saksham says, why do Arsenal loan players to these broke clubs? I think the one thing about like Arsenal is they need to kind of be more like, I don't know. I think we need to use the loans in the Premier League a little bit more because that's where the money is. That's where you'll sell your players more. But Torreira has been very like, I only want to go to Serie A. I only want to go to this team. I only want to do this. I only want to be here. So I think we just kind of gave him what he wants. But in the end, even though you played your butt off for Fiorentina and you were their best player last season, besides Vlahovic, they still didn't buy you, bro. So what are you going to do? Ify says, I agree that Torreira behaves like a child. If he didn't want to join Arsenal back then he should have just joined Lazio in 2018. I mean, I think his deal at Napoli fell through, and that's the only reason why he ended up at Arsenal anyway. That's my recollection of what happened. So he was never supposed to be at Arsenal. Like, this was just never his thing. So, he did play really hard when he was here. Like, I'm not about to sit here and act like he was out there walking or anything like that. Like, but at this point, I'm just getting like so tired of the Torreira nonsense. Like, I would almost just accept like 5 million and just let it go. But I think it's the principle of it at this point. Keenan with a question says, with Dembele and Rafinha both signing for Barca, does that mean Fatih is available? I hope to God that's our mystery signing. The kid is world-class. Vinny, Mbappe, Haaland levels. Well, the first part, I think, is yet to be determined. I know that Barcelona are making it seem like they're going to sign both Rafinha and Dembele. I actually don't think they have the money to actually close the Rafinha deal. And so right now Barcelona are hoarding a lot of talent, trying to monopolize the transfer window. But eventually it's going to come to a point where they have to shit or get off the pot. And I don't actually think they have the money for Rafinha. I actually think he'll end up at Chelsea once they formalize everything with Dembele. Because they're barely able to pay for Lewandowski as well, so I would imagine they'll reprioritize things, and Rafinha will become available for Chelsea. But in terms of the second part, in terms of Fati, he's injury prone. So I wouldn't want him, even though he's an amazing player. And I doubt he's our mystery signing. Don't you guys think the mystery signing is Paqueta? Or no? I mean, the mystery midfielder that we were going after? Sounds like it might be him. Paul Estrada says, any news on Tielemans? I do hope we sign him. Should forget Rafinha. Marquinhos looks solid. Now, I don't know about all that, but in terms of Tielemans, Ben Jacobs was saying that it's still possible, but still possible is a little bit different than how confident he was maybe 2 weeks ago. I do think there's a little bit of it does feel like he's on the back burner. Part of me does think okay, we're just trying to drive the price down a little bit more, and we know we can wait. But, with Xhaka being there and him not being looked at, or there's nobody really out there wanting to buy him, and then you're looking at somebody like Paqueta, and you have Vieira, and you have Odegaard, and then, a lot of us feel like we might need a central defensive midfielder backup for Thomas Partey. Is that the best use of funds? I'm not sure. If you get Paqueta, do you actually need to get Tielemans? Should you get maybe somebody more defensive? I'm looking at Sangare and his release clause, and I'm just drooling. I'm like, this is that's what we should use that 30 million on, is to get him in there, so you make sure you have a backup for Thomas Partey. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the Tielemans thing. I don't know if it'll come to fruition. Let's see. Sean says, secret signing. Come on, dude. What is that? What does that mean? Cal? I don't know. Joshua says, did you hear the truth about Partey? You guys, I don't know what the truth is. I don't know what the truth is. I prefer to just wait until we know what's actually going on. Now, Al Hood, where's the mystery signing idea coming from? I think it came from Fabrizio Romano, or, one of those journalists was saying that there's not a secret signing, but Tielemans isn't the number one option for midfield. So, and he's a backup option. So I think that maybe that was Ben Jacobs who said it. But he's a backup option. There's a number one option. And then that's where but nobody knows who it is. And I feel doesn't that feel like it was maybe now we know who it is, or no? So yeah, not really secret signing per se, but yeah. Let's see. Keenan says it was reported by Fabrizio. He did say it was a secret signing, and he wouldn't announce it to the public. But that was the right wing alternative to Rafinha. Maybe I don't know. I actually just don't think anybody actually knows what's going on. That's kind of what I think. Sasha Tavaleri or Tavioli or whatever his name was, he did say it. So yeah. What else? Anike says Marquinhos shouldn't be a real option for the wings this season. Relying on children to play grown man minutes is a recipe for failed potential. See Jack Wilshere. So yeah, I think with Marquinhos, obviously, I do think he looked a lot better than I thought he would, and I would like to see more. But Arsenal need another experienced attacker. I have not seen anything that makes me think anything different. So I don't know, but I do feel like there's a sense of journalists actually not knowing what's going on with Arsenal right now. They don't know, but with the Grimaldo thing seems like it could be something that comes to fruition. And then if we were to bring him in, then maybe 2 more signings would come in. That's what I would think, is that there's an alternative, because I think Fabrizio Romano did say today that Arsenal want a different type of attacker. They don't want a central number 9 like Scamacca. They want something else. So maybe we are looking at an alternative attacker to Rafinha and then a midfielder. And I think maybe the midfielder might be Paqueta. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just reading tea leaves. That's what I'm doing. IP says Arsenal FC do not know the mystery signing. Arsenal FC do not even know the mystery signing. This looks all made up. I mean, they may be saying like mystery signings or whatever, or mysteries, like, or, just to make it seem like they know something that we don't, but maybe they don't know anything. I have a strong suspicion that Fabrizio Romano, Ornstein, and Ben Jacobs have no idea what's going on now. They have no information. They're not being leaked anything, because what happened with Rafinha and Lisandro Martinez was not great. So I would imagine that Arsenal, I would hope that they're being really secretive and kind of moving in a way where they don't know anything. I would prefer them not. Let's see. Mikey says Fabrizio said that. Saksham says Depay for 30-40 million is a steal, but like, why would we need him though? And I do think that Spurs are looking at him because they want like another attacker. And I think they said 20 million was the quoted price for him. But I don't want him anywhere near Arsenal. Anywhere near it. Let's see. Mr. Smith says we need 4 new signings. I feel like we'll get 3, an attacker, a midfielder, and a left back. I think that's going to be it. Y'all know we're not getting 7, 8 signings, right? You guys know that. Like, we don't have to talk about it, right? Like, because I see the lists on social media, 7, 8 signings all together, net spend. It's like, no, that's not how it works. I think we're only going to get the 2 that we have already. And like, what I mean, like, I guess you could put Matt Turner in there, but I mean, we signed him in January. Let's keep it real. So Marquinhos, Vieira, Jesus, midfielder, attacker, left back. That's what I think. We're not going to get like the 8, 9 signings, and they're not all going to be world class, right? Chelsea Life says Lingard is better than Depay. I don't know. Depay is just not it. Like, he's just not it. Blaze says, please keep Depay away from Arsenal. He's not good enough. But why would we even need him? Like, why would he even need him? Because, like, we just bought Gabriel Jesus. And he's just a way less version of him, so no. I don't think so. Not for me. But yeah, in terms of the mystery signing, you guys, that's not really what they said. They didn't say mystery signing. It was, we have a number 1 target for midfield, and Tielemans is not it, but nobody knows who it is. That's it. Lingard and Depay is a mid-off. It really is terrible. Paul says we already have 5 so far: Turner, Trusty, Marquinhos, Vieira, and Jesus. Look, I don't count Trusty because we signed him in January, and I don't count Turner because we signed him in January. Like I don't count either of those. But if y'all want to count them, you can count them. Because I got yelled at in the group chat for saying that we've signed 2 players. But we signed Marquinhos and Matt Turner. I'm like, I know what I said. I know what I said. Keenan says, Jess, that's exactly what he said. Mystery target. Read the quote for fuck's sake. Got it. Chelsea said, you don't really need a left back, as Saka is excellent cover. I don't ever want to see Saka play left back again. I think he's great there, but I think we just need to buy a left back and allow him to play right wing or in the front line. Reggie Perry says, Jess, if we get all the players that you're projecting us to get, what do you think we can accomplish this season? It depends on who they are. Like, it depends on who they are. If they, for a minute there, I was like, oh my gosh, Grimaldo and Zergova, those two signings, like that would have just been like awful. I'm glad that those, like at least the Zergova one was, kiboshed or whatever. But I mean, like if we were to get Paqueta and, I don't know, another right wing and Grimaldo, and we already have Jesus. It really does depend, because I think we need to have a conversation around the fact that like other teams get to have windows too, and we project us to get better, and I do think we'll get better, but everybody else will as well. So, I think we need to have like an honest conversation about that too, because I see a lot of like, well, we should be looking at third. We have to get Champions League, and I do feel like we need to qualify for Champions League in some capacity. But also, we can improve and still finish like fifth or sixth, because other teams get to improve as well. So I don't know. It really depends on how everybody else's business is looking. Does it click? Does it work? Is there a team that we think is going to do really good that ends up not doing as well? So we'll do all those types of things and talk about what we think we can achieve. But I have a hard time making these predictions now when the window is not closed. We haven't secured, a couple more signings. And, I want to see us get into at least the mid-70s in points. I want to see us improve at least 15 to 20 goals. By at least 15 to 20 goals. I would like to see the goals against go down. I would like to see the possession stats go up. I would like to see us do a lot of things, but that doesn't mean that other teams are not going to improve. Like Man United can't get any worse than what they were last season. Like, let's not kid ourselves. Chelsea will have a good window. Like, they've started off slow, but they'll get it together. Spurs have had a good window. They're confident. Manchester City and Liverpool will probably be doing their thing. So unless somebody performs a lot worse than we thought, we could get better and not improve. We could get better and not have a go up in the table. So yeah, we just have to get it together and look at it when the season starts. Hassam says another right back. I think that's on the back burner. Habib says CM, DM, and left wing we need to sign, and we need quick as well. It's interesting. A lot of people think we need a left winger. I think going after Rafinha makes it, and the fact that we're only been linked to players that play on the right wing recently would suggest that we are looking at right wing and not left wing, and maybe Arteta's okay with Martinelli, because really Saka doesn't have any backup. Like, he doesn't have anybody to rotate with. Yet Martinelli and ESR, I do think, even though both of them kind of fell off towards the end of the season, it was all right. Like, it was an okay rotation there, where Saka was running his legs off. So I actually think right wing is more important, because we need to protect Bukayo Saka. So yeah, that's kind of where I go with that. And CM, DM, yes, but definitely left back. So yeah, let's just see where we end up at the end of the window before we make predictions. But I will be back probably tomorrow doing the same stuff, talking to you guys about the most recent rumors and all of that. We'll go through it. Come one, come all. With your pronunciation suggestions, that's fine. You're not going to get anything from me. I probably won't pronounce it the way that you feel like I should. Get over it, but you're welcome to stay. And the rest of you guys, fun times. It's nice to see the same people coming in and different people also as well that I've never seen before. Hi, Fee, Reggie. You guys are always kind of here. Keenan. Let's see who else is here. Terrence Tibbs, thank you for showing up as well. She knows football. Troy Happy you got to make a live show. Joshua, as usual. Chelsea Life, I think I see you sometimes. Mikey B, Wayne. Yeah, these are some usual names, as well as some new ones. Paul Estrada, I don't remember you, but thank you for being here as well. Henky Ho, haven't seen you in a while. Anike, thank you. And all the rest of you. There's 318 of you guys in here. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Again, I will have Zach Lowy get something together for Grimaldo. If that looks like it's going to happen, I will have him do some sort of breakdown on him for us. I've already kind of talked to him about it. I don't think we're doing Latte Firm tonight because FK has something going on, but we'll reschedule for the week. So yeah, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, make sure you share this and get into the comment section, and I'll see you guys later. Bye, y'all.